Speaker.
Dr. Shane Retty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to take the last call on the Smoke-Free Environments Amendment Bill, and I too would like to acknowledge all those who have got it to this point in time, this momentous point. Mr. Speaker, this bill adds further tools to the anti-smoking toolbox, and if we look at some of the anti-smoking interventions that we can be a part of as legislators, it sits beside excise tax increases and smoke-free environment legislation. Now, every speaker here today has talked to the imagery and advertising that it's at the core of this bill. Dame Tariana Turia went further and said, when tobacco manufacturers push tobacco, they are not simply selling a stick of nicotine, they are selling status, social acceptance and adventure. This bill uses imagery to convey the messages we want to convey and the facts as we understand them. This bill changes tobacco's status, social acceptance and adventure. It changes it from what we heard from our colleagues in the Greens, the glamour and the hook were the words that we use. It changes it from the images of the Marlboro Man, the independent, rugged cowboy of the 1950s and 1960s, one of the most effective advertising campaigns ever, what's considered maybe some of the most iconic and behavioural changing influences ever in American society. But you know, things actually didn't go well for the 6 people who acted the Marlboro Man. At least 4 of the Marlboro men actually died of smoking-related diseases. Eric Lawson, who was the Marlboro Man from 78 to 81, he started smoking at 14. He died at 72 of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. David Muller was a Marlboro Man. He died of emphysema, another smoking-related condition. He died at 81. Wayne McLaren tragically died at 51 of lung cancer. David McLean died at 73. He died of lung cancer also, another Marlboro Man. And in his 1996 lawsuit, it stated, the commercials were very, very carefully constructed, and David McLean was required to smoke up to 5 packs per take in order to get the ashes to fall a certain way, the smoke to rise a certain way, and the hand to hold the cigarette in a certain way. Standardised packaging removes all that imaging. We know standardised packaging is effective. We also have the benefit of learning from the Australian experience, a 10 to 25% decrease in tobacco consumption. And I'm pleased to see the image that we have here that my colleague has shown today to see what our eventual product is going to be like. But as we're extracting from the Australian experience, I was keen to see what they were actually doing. I wasn't part of the select committee who visited, so I had a family member who has an environment where the smokers send me some images of what their cigarette packets looked like. And very similar to ours, images of heart disease with a message, really compelling images. On the back, statements about why smoking is clearly harmful to you. Quite desperate when it shows children on oxygen masks. Yeah, and so the Australians have been using this since 2012, again, as my colleague said, to get that sort of decrease. And I'd like to contrast with what one of my colleagues across the House said. I do believe the Australian experience, I do believe that standardised packaging does decrease tobacco consumption. Mr. Speaker, in summary, this is an important addition to the tools we have to prevent smoking. I commend everyone who has any sort of commitment to smoking to fall in line with this very important legislation. Again, I thank everyone who's got it to this stage, and I commend it to the House.